You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Hi, everybody. This is Talkin Shop, and as always, we'd like to talk to you guys about things that are coming out really soon that we're really excited about so that you know about them in time to talk to your local comic shop to get them ordered. So we're doing something a little bit different today. We actually have something that is not a comic book for you guys to be interested in. If you're a toy fan, you'll like this guest. And then after that, for the first time, I think on this show, we've actually got a full-on trailer to show you guys for our second half an hour. So stick around, share with your friends. They'll want to be here. See you in a sec.
Is the thing playing?
Everybody, and welcome back. I had a really awesome weekend, and I hope you did too. And part of my weekend was we had our 40th, that would have been really good. Our 12th year anniversary big gathering, which included the 40 came in here. We had a big discount, and then we had 40% off. And we had so many really awesome friends of the store that have been friends of the store for a long time come by and enjoy our festivities, including cookie cake and stuff. Hey, Ed Weird. And as part of that, a longtime friend of the store, Blake Wright, came by. He's written at least 2 hardcover, really great books about toys and toy collecting. And he had come by and said that they were putting together and already had in print the very first magazine. Back in print. It's been a long time since we've had an in-print toy collectibles magazine, which the market desperately needs. So let's bring Blake on, and he can tell us all about how this came to be. Did you have a moment of insanity, or did you just be like, everyone was harassing you all the time? We need another print magazine.
It was clarity, not insanity. Clarity. Mixed with insanity. No, I mean, it was one of those things where, I had done the 3 books on unproduced toys, and it was really an interesting exercise over the past 7 years to research and get in and tell those stories, and it became one of those things where, okay, what's next? And it was like, well, I could do a 4th book, but I really like the idea of having this trilogy out there, this nice 3-book thing. It's a good number. And so I wasn't really ready to jump in on that right away. So the idea started about, well, what about a toy magazine? There hadn't been one in almost a decade. And so I started looking into it. Nostalgia is running as high as it's probably ever run for a lot of these properties from the 80s and 90s. So let's test the theory and see how far the nostalgia wave will carry us. Let's see if people are nostalgic for paper, instead of reading stuff online or what have you. So, I did my due diligence. I went out to the market and said, hey, I had a little proof of concept that I put together, which is this thing here. And I went out to the market and said, basically the same thing I did with the books. I said, talk me out of doing this, please. Tell me that this is foolish. And nobody did. Everyone was like, this makes perfect sense now. There's never been more collectors than there are today. There's never been more independent toy shops that have popped up, today than there has ever been. So, and the whole COVID thing, that plus inflation seems to have not, hampered the collector mindset at all. People are still spending. People are still, and I think a lot more collectors took the downtime during COVID to actually, spend a little bit more and fill up their collections. So we made the move and decided to do it. The first issue was just shipped. Yeah, there you go. Was just shipped late Friday and the rest of it early this morning. So people should start getting, the subscribers should start seeing them in their mailboxes hopefully by the end of the week.
Let's let everybody kind of get to know you a little bit better. Have you always had a background in toy collecting? And how did that lead to writing entire books about things that were
Yeah.
never produced?
So yeah, the idea, I had I've always been a collector from a pretty early age. I typically, I'm kind of a catch and release guy. I love the thrill of the hunt. And I love finding the thing, and I love bringing it into the collection. And then sometime down the road, I usually let it back out into the wild.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that. I've turned over at least 3 collections in my adult life. But I've been a journalist for almost 30 years. So that's where my background is. It's where I went to school for. So the whole idea for the toy magazine or the books sprang out of actually an online magazine that I did for 1 year back in 2014 called Little Plastic Men. It was an action figure quarterly that I did. And it kind of created uh, the powder keg that became Toys That Time Forgot, which was the book series. There was a column in the online mag called "Prototypically Unproductive," and it was all about toys, unproduced toys. And so when I found out that that was probably the most popular thing in the magazine, when I elected to not continue at the end of the first year, because it was a editorial success but an economic failure, and I couldn't keep doing it for free. So we okay. So I decided I was going to do one more and have it all be these unproduced toys because that's what people love to read about. So when I started doing the research, I calling folks and emailing and turning over every rock on the internet. I soon came up with a volume of material that I thought deserved to be something more than just a PDF on the internet. It deserved to be a book. And the idea was to take it to Kickstarter and see if I was not alone in that feeling. And it turned out, 3 books later, here we are. So.
Mm-hmm. And those were really well produced books. They were super high quality with a lot of good information and great pictures. They were not just things I thought were only going to appeal to a very few people, but were great for also giving as like gifts and for putting on your bookcase for a long time to go back and use as reference material.
Yeah, I mean the idea behind those books, behind the production anyway, was I wanted to create something that collectors would be proud to have in their collection.
Mm-hmm.
So they would put it on the shelf with their toys and pull it down whenever they wanted to flip through it. Speaking to the books, as a matter of fact, tomorrow morning, Volume 3 arrives at my house.
Woo!
So we've been delayed and delayed and delayed because of COVID, because we printed the books in China, so it was very difficult to bring them over logistically. All the nightmares with the ports and everything you've heard. It's all true.
Yep.
But I got a phone call this morning from my logistics people, and they say the books will be here tomorrow. So not only will Volume 3 see its first light of day, I also have reprints of 1 and 2. So everything will be in stock. For the very first time. I'm very excited to have that finally happen.
Well, this isn't happening in a vacuum. You've got to have more than just yourself putting the things together. Either that or you're just a mastermind, because there's so much good information in here. Describe how you put together the team of people that are contributing.
Yeah, the magazine, for sure. I basically, the whole idea when I approach people about bringing back a print magazine, the first reaction was you won't be able to beat the internet at their game of putting out exclusive news and it just being everywhere.
Sure.
You're going to have that problem. And and that is kind of what led to the demise of the old magazines, Tomarts and Lee's and Toy Fair. My argument was, well, the internet of 10 years ago is not the internet we're dealing with now. This internet is almost 100% social media driven. People will put out news, and within a blink of an eye, it disappears. And if you ever want a lesson in frustration, just go try to use a search engine on a social media site. It's horrible. So everything's become a lot more disposable, easily digested, and gotten rid of. So, but there's some really good people doing really good work on the internet, and that's where I found the people that would I wanted to help contribute to the magazine. So, folks that do YouTube reviews, or have YouTube shows that are pop culture centric. So there's people like Dan Erdley, who people may know as Pixel Dan. There's Dan Larson, who runs Toy Galaxy, which is another kind of popular pop culture channel. We have Daniel Pickett, who's run Action Figure Insider for almost 20 years, which is an online site. Of course, everyone's named Daniel, by the way.
Nope. Is that true?
It's all Dan's except me. And then for like Star Wars, I turned to Gus Lopez, who's probably one of the better known collectors in the collector circle for Star Wars, not only for toys but for movie props. And this, he's the guy that has the Death Star in his living room, one of the actual models that was used. So yeah, we wanted to go out and get people who knew their topics well, and B, that people could automatically say, oh, hey, there's Gus, or there's Dan, or that's awesome. So yeah, and I was just humbled by the fact that when I reached out, almost everyone said, yeah, let's do it. So lucky me.
I feel good. You're on the right path if that's happening. All right, we have some comments here. One random question: what is the Mezco 1 and 12 with the anchor on it?
Back behind me.
Yeah,
that's Popeye.
There you go. There's your answer. And then also Kyle says he watches 2-3 toy hunt vlogs a week.
Yeah, there's a lot of those out there. And I actually enjoy watching those too.
So for the magazine, are there very specific article topics that will always be in there, or is it going to be new, different, whatever is the market's taking you? Because I can remember back in a lot of those toy magazines, there were always there was sections that you always saw in there. You just knew that topic was going to be hit.
The idea is that the columnists will be kind of a movable feast thing. So we'll have people come rotate in and out, and they're really free to talk about whatever they want to talk about. We knew we had to have a constant stream of Star Wars stuff, so that's what Gus is going to do. We want a stream of kind of the more nostalgic 80s, 90s stuff. So that's kind of like what Pixel Dan can do and what Dan Larson can do. But they're all open to pitch me whatever they want to do. And as long as it fits within the guidelines of what I'm trying to accomplish, I don't have a problem with it. Each issue will have at least one main feature, which in the initial issue, it's about gargoyles. So there's, there's a new NECA line of Disney gargoyles that they're producing, as well as, the vintage Kenner line from the mid 90s. And so what we did in this first one is we talked at detail with the NECA people about their approach to the line, how they got involved, the sculptors involved. And then we shift in the second half of the feature and talk about the Kenner line, talk to the people who were involved with that, talk to the guy who created gargoyles and was involved with trying to, get the toys, the toy pitches between the actual cartoon, and because sometimes the toy companies will pitch the cartoon people an idea. Like we need a vehicle. So
Mhm.
if we make this helicopter or whatever, can you put it in the cartoon? So it'd be one of those kind of back and forth things, which is a funny story that's in the Gargoyles article about Hasbro Kenner wanted to make a helicopter. We want this helicopter for this Gargoyles line. And then Greg had to break it to him. These guys have wings. They don't need a helicopter.
It's like the Silverhawks needing things. It's like, come on.
Yeah,
Now.
so it's like, I don't understand what you're trying to accomplish. But again, the more toys, the better. So they actually did agree to do a helicopter. Unfortunately, it never came out. So in any case, but yeah, so 1 to 2 fairly chunky features on stuff. I'm working on the second issue right now. Actually, has 2 pretty lengthy features in it. There'll be toy reviews that'll always appear in the back. A handful of those. We're going to do a handful of new product, and we're actually going to review an old toy every once in a while. Something I did actually with Little Plastic Men called Replayed. So it's kind of, you go back and you find an old toy that that you dug or you thought was done well or whatever, and you just get kind of an overview of it. And then there's a news section up front that'll always be there. That's kind of, it'll be the latest and greatest of what we can do within the confines of our deadlines. But one of the things that I've come to learn, as a journalist, it doesn't take much more than a phone call to actually add value to a press release, get some other insight, get something, something different that wasn't necessarily, printed, and boom, you have a little bit of an exclusive angle with something that people may have seen, but they didn't necessarily hear this particular piece of information. So, we try to do that with the news to where we're not just rehashing what you've already seen on the internet, probably.
Oh, yeah. So the thing I also noticed about the book is that the things that I think were kind of the downfall of a lot of the other magazines was the focus on having huge sections of values for things, which of course now the values move so quickly. There are some articles that mention price, but have you made a concerted effort to kind of like move away from that and be more informational?
Yeah, I mean, price guides they're wonderful if you can keep them timely, and on a bi-monthly print schedule, there's just no way to do that. They move too fast, like you said. The best price guide still remains checking what's sold on eBay, most recently. But now they've made that more difficult because when you accept an offer, you don't see what that offer is. It just green lines it and says the offer was accepted. So it's actually made figuring out pricing on or what the market will bear on certain things more difficult. We did talk about possibly doing something website driven that would be almost like tracking certain toy prices by like a stock market stock.
Oh, okay.
But that would be someone's dedicated job. I don't think that would, we couldn't half ask that one. There would have to be something that was really, that someone would stay on top of. And we ran a few tests and it worked. But again, when you're talking, how many toys from how many years and trying to keep up with everything. And when your best baseline is still eBay, closed auctions on eBay, it really doesn't, I couldn't see the value in it at the end of the day. So we just kind of walked away from it for now. Maybe if we can figure out a way dynamically to make it work a lot better, that was something we might introduce. But pricing is just tough. The one thing that we did put in the magazine was a spread called Price Check, which will appear right behind the news every issue, basically where we've reached out to a handful of independent toy stores and gotten one of their marquee sales over the past 30 to 60 days. And so, they'll tell us, what the item was, how much they got for it, what condition it was in, that sort of thing. So you can kind of get, right. So you can kind of get a barometer of where things are, for certain pieces across the country. That was my best solution to come up with any kind of pricing information, and I thought it was kind of neat, and the way that it's presented is kind of neat. So, and I've already had feedback about that particular feature, and most people who I've run it past really think it's neat. So yeah, that'll be something that will be recurring for sure.
Yeah, I like that, because the things that have been that you see on that page are specifically things that are kind of like, for in comic books they would call them like keys. For
Right.
toys, there's always those things that everyone are like, if I could only get that for my collection. So you always going to want to watch where those things are headed.
Yeah.
It feels like those
Yeah.
they don't usually go down in price at any point, but you can sure see when they start doing meteoric rises.
Right. It all depends. I mean, again, the thing that I'm going to be interested in is over the, if we continue to do this for a long time, just to see if there are regional trends, like, things are a little lower priced up in the Pacific Northwest than they are down in the deep South, or vice versa, or something like that. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
It might mean that people plan their vacations accordingly.
There you go. I definitely know some people who've planned vacations around toy hunts. That's for certain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting now that since everyone's so connected, that there's not really a walk into a hole in the wall toy shop somewhere that just has, their 90s prices still on things. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's pretty rare. I'm not saying it's not out there, but I don't know where it's at.
I don't know either. So this week is the release for the debut.
Yeah, so if you subscribe, you'll get it hopefully you'll get it sometime this week. If you're domestic, international, you have to wait a little longer, I'm sure, for it to get to you. I'm shipping out to Diamond tomorrow. So comic shops that ordered it will have the first issue hopefully by the end of the month. And you'll be able to get it there. Be sure, and if you want your comic shop to have it, be sure and tell them, because we've reached out to a lot of them, and just to let them know that we're existing, and we hope that they'll consider us to carry us for their client or for their customers. But I know some comic shops are really big on comics.
Yeah,
since
it's been such a long time since there was print,
right?
Anything, then a lot of us are just kind of like, well, we don't even know if people would want them. Not because we don't think it's a quality product. It's just like we haven't had anything that's magazine in so long in the rack that we just don't know what the demand is. So yeah, definitely get in touch with your local comic shop and tell them that you want Toy Collector. And then you don't have to worry about whether they'll have it on the rack, and they don't have to worry about whether it will sell, because it'll be on your pull, or you'll know you're coming.
And that's important that's definitely important for generating interest. I need to get as many eyeballs on this thing as possible, so as many stores as we can get it in, the better, because that's enemy number one right now is visibility. Really, we need people to know this thing is out there.
Absolutely. And if you like these kinds of things to be around, the way you let them know is with your folding cash. To buy copies, don't just read it while you're standing there.
And the other thing, we're trying to bring back, some of the old school stuff, as well as some new things as well. One of the things we are doing that's old school is that we're going to do a mail away action figure. Just like Toy Fair used to do quite a lot, and just like Kenner would do with Star Wars and everything. We're actually going to make you cut out proofs of purchases and
these dumb boxes.
Yeah. We're going to make you cut out proof of purchase and send them in and get the exclusive figure, which we will be revealing at a later date. We haven't revealed it yet, but it's coming soon.
Okay, so that's
something
that will get people on board for if
we're excited about it. Yeah, we're excited about it.
Retail on it, the sticker price says $14.99, which is right in line with what magazines on the rack are all across the board.
Yeah, it was one of those things where pricing was going. I wanted it to be $9.99, but I couldn't get there. I really tried. It was a lot of these smaller run magazines, like you said, are $14.99, $16.99. I pay $20, I think, for the import of the UK magazine Blocks. That's all about Lego. It's a really nice glossy magazine that comes in at Barnes and Noble. It's $20. So, I tried to keep the pricing where, most people could afford to pick it up when they needed to. My pitch started being, it costs half of what Hasbro is charging you for a Marvel Legend you can no longer see.
That's
Boom.
True.
How about that?
The value added.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to get them, like if they don't have an LCS for whatever bizarre reason, what is the way they could get in contact with you to get them subscription straight to their house?
Yeah, subscribers, there's links all over my social media. There's a link at toycollector.com that will get you to the subscription. The subscription is $69 a year, so you get 6 issues for $69. That turns up to be what, $11.50, I think, or something like that. $11 per. So you do get a discount for subscribing. Of course, we just shipped one, so any new subscribers will start with 2. But we do still have copies of one that we will be selling individually, hopefully by the end of the month, direct. So you'll still be able to pick up one because we printed a lot of them.
That's perfect. I'm super excited to see your new book also on top of this. I did not realize that we're on top of that releasing. So
yeah, we're right. I mean, literally, it's going to be dropped off tomorrow. When I catch my breath, I'll run a copy up there to you so you can see it.
Oh, is that so? If people are interested in that book, is that also something they can connect with you on social media? That same
for the books, be sure connect with us through the book's Facebook page. That's facebook.com/toys that time forgot, all run together. That's really your best option. I never set up a website for the book because I never needed one. They sold out so quick. I actually never needed to actually put up anything for it. Or if you want to order it online, you can do that. But the only retailer that we have is Big Bad Toy Store. Okay. So they have them up for pre-order right now, but they should be getting theirs very quickly as well, because we actually drop ship them directly from the warehouse. So I'm getting mine probably about the same time they're getting theirs.
Good plan. That's perfect logistics.
Yeah. Which is a rare feat this day and age.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Blake. I appreciate you being willing and able to hop on. I mean, I didn't even think about it until I was like, you know what? I need to get him in front of just more eyeballs than just my customer base. So
I appreciate it. I do. When the book comes in, we should set up another signing if you want to.
Absolutely. Let's plan it out.
Because I'll have all 3 of them, and I'll have magazines. They can take their pick.
Love it. We'll do it for sure. All right, everybody give thumbs up and hearts to Blake. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We'll see you.
We'll talk soon. Thanks.
All right, coming up next, after the break, we're going to see Robert Myers.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time. Hey, it's producer Kyle. If you like going places where the action never stops, like Las Vegas, the Caribbean, and Atlantic City, then you're probably not who I want to talk to. But if you want to surround yourself with amazing comic books and comic book content made by a devoted group of smart and funny industry insiders, the Experience Members Club was made for you. You can join the experience by becoming a supporting member of our YouTube channel. You get access to exclusive content that no one else gets, like members-only live streams, pre-sales, one-on-one Q&As with production staff, and other content that's exclusively for members. Plus, for a limited time, if you sign up now, you'll be entered into our giveaway of a slabbed comic book. Just call this Wait, hold on. It's 2022. No one makes phone calls anymore. Scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen or just visit the membership section of our YouTube page and you'll be on the VIP line of the comic book buffet, baby. Look at the size of those perks. Join today and I'll be saying, who loves you, baby? Me. The answer is me.
Tell you, I'm super excited again to talk to our next guest because I get a lot of emails from publishers and hype crews and creators, saying here's a thing that I'm proud of, and all of it is amazing. But sometimes there's a thing that comes across my desk that I'm just like, what the heck did I just watch, and how can I get that on the show ASAP? And this was the thing. So I want to introduce you to Robert Myers.
Hey, Jen, how are you? Hi.
I'm doing great. I would say the most successful email that I've ever had come across my desk.
Oh, well, thank you.
So whatever you did, that magic, perfect magic.
Yeah, I'm excited. We've got a fun project coming up. Where do you want to start?
Okay, so let's get to know you a little bit. So you are not part of the creative team on this book, just so everyone wraps their mind around that. What is your relationship to Godslap?
Yeah, so Godslap is creation of a group of folks that I've been connected with. It's Charlie White, Matt Phillips, Danny Palmer, and Jackson Clark. That Phillips name may ring a bell. That is Stephanie Phillips' brother. They're a really exciting group. Charlie's one of the kind of biggest names in the streaming space. He streams daily on Twitch. He uploads YouTube videos almost daily. He's got a huge following, really entertaining, really engaging, really creative guy. So they kind of were like, hey, we want to make a comic. And they made a comic, and it's really good. And so when it got to the point of it was like, what's the next step, right? What do we do next with Godslap? I got introduced to them, and so I'm coming on board, and we're going to go from making one comic to, this is sort of the first time this will be said publicly, but we're starting a whole new publishing line. So issue 2 of Godslap, and this is all, I'm hopefully the black helicopters don't show up here in a minute, but issue 2 of Godslap, we're just about to wrap it up and send it to the printer. So hopefully we'll have that available in October. From there, we have a pretty exciting plan. We've been talking with some other creators in the Twitch, YouTube space about bringing them in and making books with them. So kind of the general idea is we've got partnerships with some really creative, really amazing people in that streaming space. My role will be to then partner them with some really great, amazing creators in the comic space and hopefully make a whole bunch of really fun books.
So is your background in comic books or something?
Yeah. So prior to working at Godslap, I've been in comics for coming up on my 10 years in publishing here in a minute. I started at Valiant in 2013. I went from being an intern as a grad student in college. I was going to the new school, and they had an internship posting, and I was like, I have to by 2020, I and Fred Pierce and a couple of folks, Matthew Klein, a few folks who aren't there now, but leading the company there, right? So I was the senior editorial director was my official title there. 2020 had some life changes, and so I moved out from New York to Portland, Oregon, where I was working with Oni Press for the last 2 years. mostly leading up the licensed division. So making Rick and Morty and Agretzico comics, and had, really just made a lot of really fun, really silly, crazy books over there. And then this opportunity came up. So that's sort of my timeline. A million years ago, I worked at a comic shop in high school. So I've been on both sides. So yeah, that's sort of my comic book origin story. My very first comic was an Archie Digest, which is on that shelf over there somewhere. I still have it. It's it was a gift from I don't even remember now. I think it was a gift from a mechanic that my dad used to go to.
Oh, how funny.
That's the rambling kind of comic book origin story. But yeah, I love the medium. I love the folks in this industry on kind of all sides. I was at Rose City Comic Con this weekend and just got to reconnect with folks I haven't seen in a couple of years because of where we've all been in the last couple of years, to to meeting some new people. Had some really exciting conversations about partnerships for Godslap and what we're doing next. So
you mentioned your first comic book shop. Are
Yeah.
they still around for you to name drop them?
So my first comic shop was the Sub in San Luis Obispo, which is still there. I think it might be operating under a different name, but it's the same folks. But the shop that I worked at was Games People Play. It was part role-playing game, part comic shop. And it is no longer around, but it was a great shop. That was all in San Luis Obispo. And then, yeah, I've been a comic shop goer ever since. But
And it sounds like probably been to a million conventions.
Been to a ton of conventions. It's fun. Like getting back out there in the last 6 months. I went to Emerald City in December, and then I went to Emerald City again in just a couple weeks ago, and then Rose City this weekend. I'll be out at New York for New York Comic Con, and maybe Baltimore if I can wrap my head around doing 2 cross-country flights in a month. And then next year, we've got next year we'll probably start getting set up as a company. We're eyeballing. It's okay if I mention other shows and shops.
Oh, you
right?
Absolutely should. Yes, name drop away.
We are tentatively right now. Our plan is going to be a bigger presence at South Carolina Comic Con, Rob Young's show I think it's in March or April, and then from there we'll see where it goes.
So is everything going to be under the Meteor Productions?
No. So Meteor was their initial kind of logo and title for this. As we've kind of decided to go a little bigger, we're coming out with a new company name soon. I was given permission to call it. So unless something changes, we're going to be Bad Egg Publishing.
Oh, I like Bad Egg.
So yeah, we had a meeting. I was in Tampa last week. Got to meet the team for the first time. Got to meet Charlie and for the first time and talk in person with Matt and a bunch of the rest of the crew. And we had a half hour, 45 minutes brainstorming session because we had a name in mind, and then it didn't get through the copyright kind of channels, so we had to pivot. But I really like where we landed. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I've already got ideas for the logo, and I mocked up a really silly Aliens movie poster teaser that we may or may not use.
Oh yes, I can envision it now.
Yeah, Bad Egg. We are hoping to have a big official announcement soon. But this show is the first time anybody's heard it officially publicly.
I'm very honored to have been the place where it's been dropped.
Yeah.
Ken Graham says the Sub Slow County, California represents.
I may have planted some seeds in the audience.
Oh, I love it.
Some ringers, if you will.
And you don't have anybody else to bring on with you, do you? I don't want to leave anybody hanging in the background.
No, just today it's just me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so everybody that's out there, we have something very special for you, and this is really kind of the big sales point that there was for the book series, because I was like, if the book is 1/10 as cool as what we're about to show you guys, and
Well, yeah, this is exciting.
No lie, when I finished watching that the first time, I was yelling and jumping up and down in my chair.
The
was like-
Kowski Animation Studio did an amazing job. They're actually working on a second trailer for us that we'll have for issue 2 soon. So stay tuned for that.
I need the video game. I want to play the waitress in the movie.
There you go. No, I think it's that was one of the first things I saw too, and I was like, okay, I'm in. I'm all in. This is it's fun. The book looks a little different, but it's still got that same vibe. And one of the fun thing we're doing is it's all the Godslap book it's black and white with red tones. And then which I think is really nice. It kind of gives it that little bit of a manga vibe, but it's it's like it's part Blade Runner, it's part John Wick, it's got some One Punch Man, got some Bloodsport even, so yeah, there's a lot of fun in there. Each issue is 40 pages, so it's a big package. It's a nice thick read.
Oh yeah, I do have to say that to me, you can kind of tell when an artist already has somebody in mind. Yeah. The Doctor looks like he's already being played by someone famous.
Yes, he does. Yes.
Which makes it easier to even imagine it. But it's one of those things like if someone were just go, like here's a book called Godslap, and it's about dudes that can slap real hard, you'd be like, But man, I'm telling you, that trailer, and the trailer is not like one of those things like you watch the trailer and you're like, that book didn't have anything to do with that trailer. I don't know what you're talking about. It has all those same beats in the book.
Yeah.
Even that little like flick of the camera and the just the tiny flick makes it through the camera and into the room they're viewing the camera from. What the heck?
No, it's kind of it's a lot of stuff, but it's kind of like the idea of like slap fighting taken to an extreme in a really fun way.
Oh yeah, it's I think you're backing a winner here for sure.
Yeah, we do too. We're excited. We've got big plans for this one. The next book, which I can't quite talk about yet, but is also really awesome, and that's another creation from Charlie. I should probably mention on YouTube, it's Penguin Zero is his channel, and on Twitch it's Moist Critical. Some of the bigger, so he's just so chock full of crazy, amazing ideas. I'm so excited to get to work with him.
So awesome. Okay, so we're talking about. So I have the actual physical book under its original like media thing. So if people can't get them, like for example, from a retailer like me who has these really cool special ones, when will they be seeing them maybe show up at a local comic shop near them?
So to start, we did everything directly through our website. That was just sort of the company. It was the easy way to do it. We're working with a group that already do merchandise and fulfillment, so it just was a real easy for Charlie's other brand, for Moist Critical brand, and a lot of other streamers out there. And so when we all partnered together, it just it made sense to do a direct to consumer model to start. So Godslap book will be where you can pick up issue 1. We are running low. Issue 2 will be available there, as well as I'm working on putting together sort of a direct to retail plan, which you and I talked a little bit on the phone. Right now, the book is available in person in stores at 6 different shops. So of course at Space Cadets, we're at Borderlands in South Carolina. If UPS ever finds their books, we're at Anyone and Everyone Comics in Brooklyn and Queens. We are at Nowhere Games and Comics in San Marcos. And I have to go over there this afternoon, but I will be at Cosmic Monkey here in Portland soon. So those stores will have copies. If they don't have them yet, we'll have them soon. And then from there, I want to build out and get us a nice network of shops across the country. And then we've had some conversations with getting some international distribution as well.
Yeah, don't worry. I've got lots and lots of friends that own comic book stores who would be so about supporting this for sure. And the names of the stores that you named, none of them surprise me that they're the smartest people in their area that are like,
yeah. That's for sure. And we'll we'll have more news on that soon. Issue 2 will probably be coming mid-October. I don't want to give a hard date yet because we're still. I just read a final proof this morning, and we're just about good to go. But we need to get it to a printer, and those things can sometimes take time just with shipping and everything else. But we'll have that available soon. And then from there, with under the banner of Bad Egg Publishing, we've got, like I said, one other book already underway, and we've got 3 or 4 more that are in sort of that early development stage.
So the one that's on the way that we can't really talk about name or any of those kinds of things, can you give us a genre?
Sure. It's a apocalyptic monster of the week, kind of a Hercules, like the Tasks of Hercules sort of motif, but where Hercules is maybe kind of the bad guy.
Ooh.
So
intriguing.
Yeah, and that's that'll be, like I said, we'll have more news on that soon. I'm just not quite ready to take the wrapper off of that guy.
I totally understand that. So does anyone have any, like, you've got like easy access to someone that you can ask lots of questions to, and we still have some time. So speaking of issue 2, what is the speaking of issue 2, Kyle?
Oh, that's right, we have a big reveal.
We have a reveal. Oh,
this is a brand new cover for issue 2.
That's a female hand, I can tell.
From the amazing Justin Mason, with colors by Andrew Dahlhaus. Justin just wrapped up Spider-Punk. He did this cover for me. He's done another cover for me that I can't show you yet, for us. So yeah, Justin got this. I think my favorite thing is I looked at it for 3 or 4 times, and I didn't spot the eyeball down by his knee until like the 3rd time I looked at it. So this will be, we're going to do a line of covers sort of for some more known comic artists and such, and that kind of more to get some folks that maybe more mainstream comic readers will recognize.
It's interesting that he still has his weapon. He even has his finger on the trigger, and didn't do him any good.
I mean, you got slapped to heck.
That's right. You saw the eyeball before you noticed the lady's hand, Kyle says.
Well, there we go.
Oh, goodness. What else can we talk about? Anyone have any other questions? I think we made it through. I kind of feel like maybe we need to play it out with that trailer again.
Sure, yeah. I feel like we should, Godslap, if you go to godslapbook.com, you'll have links to to purchase the books. We think we still have some posters available. And then the variants are all sold out, but we'll have, again, more with issue 2, we'll have some really fun variants. The one that we just showed, as well as a couple others that are really exciting.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Go, Kyle.
You're talking about working with people who are streamers and, Twitch kind of people, which, we are. And I know what kind of a fickle bunch we can be. What is that like, working with someone who's kind of used to just sort of going with their own flow, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to stream and I'm going to do my hours and then I'm going to not?
So far, it's been great. I mean, as much work as Charlie does on his channels, it's been really easy to work with him. He's he's done videos for the book. We'll be talking about issue 2 on the channel shortly, as well as some more press soon. But yeah, no, it's been great. Because there's Charlie, who's the sort of the lead of as Moist Critical and as Penguins on YouTube, but there's a whole team of people behind him as well, and everybody's just been great. It was really fun. I got to go to they have a big warehouse in Tampa where they film a lot of things, and got to hang out there for a full day. It was really fun. There's a full kitchen. The group of us just stood in the kitchen for like an hour and a half, talking about comics and streaming and crazy stunts and all sorts of stuff. It was really fun.
My guess is if you're going to be successful in that realm and have a following, you cannot be someone that just kind of does it whenever they want to. It's a lot of work, and I'm impressed with just how tireless he is, as well as just how funny.
Like, I'm not sure how deep into the YouTube or Twitch area you've gone with his channels, but there's some hilarious stuff on there. So it's fun. It's really fun working with really creative, really energetic people. It's great. It's been really good.
I love it. So it looks like maybe you'll be able to track Robert down if you go to New York, maybe Baltimore.
Maybe, yep. Hopefully, definitely New York. Definitely, I still have to buy plane tickets, but New York, and then Baltimore, I think will be the only other show this year, and then next year we'll have a full schedule. Then you can find me on, I don't really use Twitter, but I have to. I don't really like Twitter, but I have to. I'm on Twitter, just my name. And yeah, I'm excited. So Bad Egg Publishing coming soon. Godslap #2 coming soon.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
No, it was so good to see you. It's so good to talk. Thank you so much for having me on and supporting the book.
Absolutely. We're gonna offer our copies on our show today that happens later on, a couple hours from now. So
awesome. Great.
People will just only have to be like chewing their fingernails until that happens.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Take care.
Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next week for Talkin Shop.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.